Hey everyone, I do want to talk about some of the headlines that could appear in the second half of the year. I do believe we're going to see some headwinds relative to things in the housing market that we're going to need to be educated on. You know how we always say headlines do more to terrify than to clarify. The job of the news is not to educate you, it's to get you to watch more news, and we need to be prepared for the things that are going to come up. The first thing is going to come up certainly will be cash out refinances. In the first quarter of this year, $41 billion was processed as cash out refinances. And as we look at that, comparatively speaking to the red bars during the housing crisis, so those red bars are the height of the housing crisis. And at that point, $320 billion were cashed out as cash out refis. So, you know, if we extrapolate to the $41 billion in the first 4 quarters, or times the 4 quarters that we have so far this year, we'd be looking at only $164 billion cashed out. That's nowhere near what it was back then. But to the news, it looks like something is there in this cash out refinance thing. So expect to see a headline that says cash out refinances are the highest they've been in 10 years. And, you know, here we go again. So we're nowhere near that amount that I was just talking about. And there were nowhere near that amount for the fraction of disposable personal income. Back in the housing crisis, the amount of equity extraction, you know, or cash out refis is the other way to call it, as a percentage of disposable personal income was close to 10%. We are nowhere near that now. The other headline that you're probably going to see is that mortgage payments are increasing significantly. And it's true, since this year we've seen almost a 20% growth in the average mortgage payment. That does seem like a scary headline. So be prepared, because there are some things you need to know about that and what's going on behind it. First, the meaning and what people wanted in a home changed in the last year because of the pandemic. What people wanted in a home before the pandemic was much less than what they want now. For last year, we've all lived at home. We've worked at home. We've worked out at home. We've gone to school at home. We've eaten at home. We've, you know, everything we did at home. So people said, you know, I need something different in my home because it's not functioning for this. The second thing we know is that people are willing to pay for what they want in a home right now. They are willing to say, you know what, I want this home with this amenity and this feature that I don't currently have, and I'm willing to pay for it. So we're seeing that happen all across the market in homes that people buy. And when people are paying more for homes and putting that are bigger homes and have more amenities, you're gonna see a larger mortgage payment. It's just math. So you can expect to see that as a headline, that mortgage payments are going up. But I want you to understand what's going on behind that. People are buying more house with more amenities because of what they've learned during the pandemic. The next headline that might scare you is affordability. This is something that they're going to be talking about probably through the next several years. Somebody's going to say, you know, houses aren't as affordable as they used to be. So we're using the Housing Affordability Index from NAR, and we've been doing that for a long time. And you know what stands out to you are the homes that were so affordable during the housing crisis, right? Everybody says that homes were so much more affordable during the housing crisis. Sorry, I got jumped ahead here. There we go. This is the screen we're looking for. So look at this though. Homes are actually more affordable now than they were during the housing crisis. That's because people are working now. People have jobs now. So as a percentage of income, homes are actually more affordable now than they were in the housing crisis. Now, every one of these issues is going to pour gas on the bubble conversation. You know, are we in a housing bubble? Are we going back to the housing crisis? But Harvard just came out with their 2021 study of the State of the Nation's Joint Station for the State of the Nation's Housing Joint Study or whatever. I'm not going to read it for you. I'm bumbling around here. But what they say is these outsized increases, and they're talking about price there, have raised concerns that a home price bubble is emerging. However, conditions today are quite different from early in the 2000s when we had the bubble, particularly in terms of credit availability, and the current climb in housing prices instead is reflecting a strong demand amid tight supply, helped along by record low interest rates. So it's not being helped along by artificially ignoring people's credit or what they can actually afford. In fact, it's the opposite. Prices are going up because people can afford homes, and we have a limited supply of homes, and it's just pure economics. When demand is higher than supply, prices go up. So it's not a bubble. It's a supply and demand imbalance, and that's what we're facing. And that's coming from a Harvard University study. But it's, again, another headline that you're going to see and that you should be prepared for, because, you know, you're wondering, should I buy a house now, or is this a housing bubble? If I buy now, is it going to go down in price? That's what the headline makers like. They want to stoke your fear, and they want to lure uneducated buyers into making, you know, with their misinformation. So that's why we're coming to you with trusted information from verified sources to tell you what's really going on in the market. Now, if you want to make a decision and it's not the right, that it's maybe not the right time for you to buy, that's fine, but we want you to make the best and informed decision. But I'll wrap up with this. As we end the first part of 2021, we know that the question is that we're going to have to keep it in perspective every day. Is, you know, is it still worth it to buy a home? Should I still own a home, or are we in this bubble? And we want to bring clarity to you as our clients so that you know that home buying is still a great value, and prices are going to continue to rise, maybe not at the same speed, but they are going to continue to go up because we simply don't have enough housing, and we have lots of employed people. As part of the forecast, here's what's going on as we come into the future. This year, they're forecasting almost 9% appreciation, up at the 8.66%. And notice that even though it's going to 5% next year, that's 5% appreciation. So that's on top of your 8.6%, which would give you about 13% total all. And then the year after that, another 3.7%. These are just forecasts, and they're conservative forecasts, obviously. But so now you got 13 plus 3.7. Then you've got, so that's, you know, what, 16, almost 17%. And then it's going to go up another 3%, then another 3%. So in 5 years, we're looking at another 20% of appreciation. That's not a housing bubble. That's continued steady appreciation in hopefully a more healthy market where more people can afford homes. Oh, let's see. If you were to buy a $350,000 house right now, if you could find one in the area, right? But if you could, with that percentage of equity growth, you would gain $93,000 just in equity. That doesn't count the paying down of the mortgage or anything else. That's simply just due to appreciation over the years. So you can imagine that those percentages are even bigger, or those numbers are even bigger if your house is a more expensive home. So these are slides that show some of our resources. I want you to know that we are using, you know, the latest, very trusted sources for our information. We're not making things up. As a professional, it's our job to give you actual and accurate information so that you can make decisions on what you should do with your homes and your investments. In my book, housing is still one of the best, most solid investments out there. The 5-year return is looking great. And it's the fact that you can live in a house, which is your single biggest asset, while it appreciates and make payments over time is just something you can't get in any other type of asset. All right, that's Kim Harlington for your July market statement. If you have any questions, DM us. We're happy to answer questions. It doesn't have to be about, you wanting to hire somebody. If you just want to talk about the real estate market, we love to talk about it. So thanks again from Kim Harlington, that's me, from Team Harlington at Coldwell Banker Danforth.